everyone, and welcome to another edition of the EurohooPOD, the official podcast of EuroHoops. This is Antonis Stroggylakis. I'm again joined by my great colleague Cesari Milanti, and I believe our guest today needs no big introduction. All of you can see who he is, but I'm pretty sure he deserves a big introduction. NBA champion in 2014 with the San Antonio Spurs, member of the All-EuroLeague first team, two-time member of the All-EuroLeague second team, former ACB MVP, former Finals MVP in Spain. He has won several titles in Spain, the Championship, the Spanish Cup, the Super Cup, and he's now an assistant coach. Now that he has retired from basketball, he became a coach, and he's now an assistant coach at the Houston Rockets. Tiago Splitter, ladies and gentlemen. Tiago, hello.
Hello, Antonis. Cesari, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to talk with you guys. And, well, I hope that I can bring as much information as I can and bring some insights with, stuff that happened in my career.
Speaking about your career and insights, let's begin with your current role as an assistant with the Houston Rockets. Can you tell us what does your role encompass? For example, I know that at the Brooklyn Nets, you were a player development coach. Do you have the same capacity with the Rockets?
No, it's a little different. I have more responsibility. Now, in the NBA, there's two types of ways the head coach can give jobs to your assistant coach, right? Sometimes they divide in offense and defense. And sometimes they give you these assigned teams for you to study and to present to the rest to the players, right? And Houston Rockets is more like I have 5-6 teams that I got signed, and so I have to study those teams, do the presentation, how we gonna defend them, how we gonna guard them, talk about their players. So yes, that's my job, that's my role. And, together with the other assistant coaches, we had the whole, NBA 30 teams divided, and this is part of our job. And of course, practice, sometimes I got to show them a little bit how to set a screen, how to defend a pick and roll as a big, so far. So we try to do everything together, prepare practice together, prepare games together. But of course, I have 6 teams that I study more, and I'm ready to present to the coaches and to the players. So basically, that's my role with the Rockets right now. It's a bigger role that I had with the Nets, and I'm happy with it.
And you guys, the start of the season for you guys has been pretty solid, including a big win over the reigning champs, the Denver Nuggets. And the Houston team that last made the playoffs was in the bubble season. So the fans are kind of waiting, is this a playoff contender team in your eyes?
Well, when Ime got here, Coach Udoka, he brought the numbers from the last 3 years, right? They won, I think, 19, 20, and 22 games in the last 3 seasons. So
pretty accurate.
Any of the coaches, we were not used to lose that much. So he was like, no, we're not going to do that. We got to win more games. We got to aim high. I don't know where's our ceiling. I think we don't know yet. For now, everybody's surprised with what we're doing. But for us, this is like, I think we're 7-6 now, or 8-6. I don't know.
8-6.
8-6, yeah.
7-6, yes. And we lost a lot of games like in the last seconds. We lost to, San Antonio over there. There was like a lot of mistakes. We lost Clippers in the last second. We lost Lakers in the last second. You name it. So we don't feel good about our record. We felt like, we could be even better. But that's part of the NBA, right? You're gonna win some, you're gonna lose some, but the desire, the fire to defend, to guard, to make the right play on offense is there. I think the coach Udoka is doing a great job with that.
So you are a coach now after a very long, quite successful basketball career. Did you always have that coaching gene inside of you? Did you always, when you were playing? And honestly, I tried to look for some interviews you made while you were a player, but I didn't find much. I didn't find if people were asking you, Tiago, do you want to become a coach when you retire? Because that's a typical question that is made.
No,
to
be
players.
honest, I never thought about it. What I always thought about is I want to be inside of the basketball role, right? Because I love basketball. That's all I know. Basically, I never went to college, but I was a player that I knew the game. I studied the game. Maybe I wasn't that vocal, but internally, I understood the game very well. And you have to, especially when you come to the NBA, because there is, such a good athletes here and such a good players. If you don't understand the game correctly and read all the situations, you cannot play in the NBA or EuroLeague level. So, I never thought about being a coach, but when I retired early with an injury, I had a hip replacement, and I was like, oh, this is too early to leave basketball. I want to be part of something. So slowly I started coaching. I was feeling like, wow, this is what I love to do. This is what I want to do after I retire. I want to coach. So quickly I found it, and I was happy to find, my goal in life. I want to be a head coach. Even though, I was not as vocal as Sarunas, Jasikevičius, in the court, talking to everyone, or Pablo Prigioni that I play with. But I have that feeling that I know how to talk to the players in another way.
You were a player, of course, yourself, so.
Yes. And I've been part of all types of experience in the basketball. I play all type of, EuroLeague, you name it, Olympic Games, World Cups, NBA. I mean, I was part of the whole process of the FIBA basketball. So, I have a lot of experience to share, and maybe that's the hardest part, how to share that with the players. And that what you learn, during your coaching career.
And you also had some good teachers, if I may call them that way, when it comes to your former coaches. And of course, I'm going to mention first and foremost, Gregg Popovich. You played under Gregg Popovich at the Spurs for 5 years. You won the championship, of course, with him. What kind of lessons did you get from Pop that you now use as a coach yourself?
So, Gregg Popovich. So you gotta go a little bit back. And when I was in Europe, most of the coaches are hard. They want to take the best out of you. But I never had like a good relationship outside of the basketball court till I got to the NBA, till I got to Gregg Popovich. And I saw a guy that he could demand in the court, but once practice finished, he would sit down with you, drink a coffee, drink a glass of wine, and talk about life. And I never had that before. I'm like, wow. And he creates such a connection that helps you in the court. So I took that, I like, you can be hard in the court, but that doesn't mean that you can be hard off the court. You can be a good guy. You can be a person and have a relationship. I'm not saying, all the coaches in Europe, they don't have relationship. I'm not saying that, but not as good as Gregg has with me. So it was different.
It's very interesting that you mentioned this off-court relationship and the differences between how a coach behaves during the timeouts, during the court, and outside of it, because there's one coach in Europe that I've heard similar things, maybe not hanging out with the players necessarily, but building a non-basketball relationship. That's Zeljko Obradovic.
Yeah. But I never played for him, so I don't know.
Of course you didn't play. But I hear players saying this about both. So it's interesting that they're saying this about the GOAT, probably, with Phil Jackson in the NBA. and they're saying this about the GOAT in the European basketball.
Right. Yeah, Zelko, I mean, I'm happy that, our Brazilian fella is playing for him now. But Zelko is always a guy that I like to watch. I like to see how he talked to the players. And then I had former teammates that told me, man, I play for Zelko. He's great, he invited me for dinner, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, wow, that's different, like I never had that. Neven Spache coached me in Spain, and he was a great guy off the court. But I got to know him better when he coached me in the NBA as assistant coach. But it's just different, it's a different world, it's different. The presidents want different things. Sometimes in Europe, they want the coach that is hard, and this and that. But that doesn't mean that you're going to get the best of your players. So it's a tricky thing, I think. And it's not always going to work like that,
And you mentioned Pablo Prigioni before. And if I'm not mistaken, you, Barbosa, and Prigioni are the only South American assistant coaches in the history of the NBA. And there's never been a head coach coming from South America in the history of NBA. So is that kind of a goal for you eventually in the future?
It is. I mean, that's why I'm an assistant coach, right? And, I think, I know Pablo very well. I know Barbosa. And Barbosa maybe is not his goal to be a head coach, but we will see. He's still learning, and I just talked to him last week. He's not sure about that. But Pablo is a head coach already. I think he's going to be one day a head coach in the NBA, and he's a great dude. No basketball, no X's and O's, knows how to, fire players and get them play with passion. And hopefully Pablo or me, we got that job one day. I mean, we know that it's not easy, especially being a foreign, because, you got to lead players that are Americans, most of them.
Yeah.
So it's not easy. We all know that, but it's fine. We are here in America. We're trying to do our best, and hopefully we have a chance one day.
Speaking about coaching, to put aside this discussion because we really want to move also to Baskonia and EuroLeague stuff, something also related to the Spurs and related to decisions that the coach, mainly a head coach, has to make. As a coach now, what's your opinion? When up by 3 and the other team has the ball in the last possession, what do you do? And you know why I'm asking you this question, of course, because it's very likely that you would have been a 2-time NBA champion right now. Instead of
well, you foul. That's an easy one, right? You foul.
Did you ever tell Pop
that? Don't worry, he knows. It's just you gotta understand the NBA with the timeouts. It's a little different, and I'll explain you why. Because when you can advance and you can draw a play on the side, I'm not saying that was the situation, but I'm just saying in general. When you can draw a play in the side and you just catch and shoot, and you have players that, sometimes are not ready to do a foul, they could do a foul in a catch and shoot situation. Now, you winning by 3, 15 seconds, the guy is dribbling half of the court. Of course, I will foul. So you always got to read the situation. There is numbers, analytical numbers, saying that it's not that clear that you're going to win a game if you foul. Because you got the rebounds, you got the timeouts, you can advance. So it's kind of like a tricky situation, but definitely under, 15, 10 seconds up 3, I will foul.
Okay. I'm glad that you admitted that Pop knows, because back then...
He knows. He knows.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's, the heat of the moment, and it's, or you feel, it's hard to judge that play.
Yeah,
definitely. So let's move, of course, to Baskonia, the team that you spent your entire EuroLeague career, not your entire career in Europe, but your entire EuroLeague career. I know that the time difference is tricky, you being in the USA and being in Houston for the larger part. How much are you able to follow your former team and watch their games? And what's your overall opinion about Baskonia this season?
I watch some games, not every game, but I always check the results. I follow them on social media. I want the best for Baskonia. I think, I have my beef a little bit when I left there. I don't know if you guys remember this, but when I play in Valencia for the lockout, so some people is mad at me there, but it's all good. It was just a personal decision. But I love Baskonia. I love to watch them. I love the city. I love the fans, everyone there. I think Querejeta always tried to do his best. It's a small city. It's a small city which is always competing. It's not easy. Here they are again, the 8th, I think, now in the EuroLeague, in a very competitive league. They started with John Peñarroja. Now they have Dusko back. And I think it's the 4th time that Dusko is there.
Yeah.
So I follow them. I follow their signs, everything they do. And I have friends that work for Baskonia, and sometimes they give me some feedback and updates and what's going on and what they can. Sometimes, it's you fight against the best in Europe, so it's not easy, but they are always there. So I'm proud of that.
And as you said, of course, they started the season with Peñarroya, then Dusko came back, and Dusko came back 4-game winning streak. The loss came at the last second at the buzzer against Monaco. So can you drive us through, in your opinion, what is described like a karmic relationship, like some kind of special stuff between Dusko and Baskonia? Is there something more that we know? Like, it may sound like a cliche, but every time Dusko comes back to Baskonia, you can bet on something that it's a trophy or whatever, a winning streak,
Even 2020 to Cesari, when it was the COVID, they won the championship when Dusko arrived on the team.
I know. Yeah. And well, one thing 100% I can tell you is Dusko is going to bring the most effort out of the players. So if you don't bring 100% effort in the court, you're not playing. That's given. Like, you're not gonna be like chilling in the court. You gotta play 100%, especially on defense and running back. So he's gonna make to beat Baskonia. You gotta make shots and you gotta play hard. You can't just make shots. You gotta play hard against them, because if not, they're gonna eat you alive. And that's what Dusko brings, The only thing is, sometimes some players cannot adjust to what, Dusko brings. They don't play that way. They don't play at 100% every possession. But so that takes some talent out of the court, because they are, they cannot copy with what Dusko wants, to do in the court. So sometimes you have 5 talented players, but they don't play 100% every time. They don't have that on them. And that's a talent. Play hard is a talent. Don't forget that. And some players don't have that talent. They cannot play hard every possession. But if you play for Dusko, you got to bring it. And if you don't have it, you go into the bench.
Yeah.
And if you have the right signings, the right players, young guys, hungry, you're going to be successful with Dusko. That's for sure, because he's going to bring everything you have. Like, when you think there's a limit, there's always a little bit more. And that's what he taught me in my career. He taught me to be resilient. I was a puppy, 18 years old, playing for Dusko. He taught me, like, I thought my limit was here. No, it was higher. And am I glad I played for him? But at the moment, it was hard. It was super hard.
And the practices weren't as fun, I'm sure.
Yes.
Speaking of Baskonia, I was reading an article a couple of years ago, and I still remember it. It was at the Gazeta GR, that the headline was "The best teams that didn't win the EuroLeague," and it included the Baskonia team of 2004, 2005. Do you believe that this was the best Baskonia team you were part of? And would you really put a team on that kind of article? Would you believe that this is one of the best teams that didn't win the EuroLeague?
100%. 100%. The talent was there. I was very young, but the talent, Luis Scola, you name it, all the guys that we have. And is that the year that we lost to Maccabi in the final?
Yes, the Maccabi in the final, when they won the back-to-back.
Yeah. So, it's one game. I think if we have a series, maybe we have a bigger chance. But you're going to go, we beat CSKA home in the Final Four in Russia. I think it is. And then we lose to Maccabi. What I remember for them game is strategy. They were better than us. I think they switch every pick and roll, and they stop the pick and roll with Prigioni. They made us play one-on-one. I think that was the series. But, one game, everything can happen. It's hard to, to even try to find excuses or something like that, or why we lost, or we should do that, or it's part of basketball. And, we knew how good we were, and unfortunately, we couldn't win that year.
It wasn't the only season, of course, that you guys made the Final Four and you flirted with the EuroLeague title. You went there in 2007, you were there in 2008, and the more the season progressed...
I made four.
What?
I made 4 Final Fours.
Yeah, and the more the years passed, the more you also began to get a more superior role on the team, a more dominant role on the team, and you emerged as an all-EuroLeague center. Now, I have to ask the intricate question. I just have to ask this. Would you trade the NBA championship with the EuroLeague championship with Baskonia? I just had to make this question because
that's a hard one. That's a hard one, just for the weight of the NBA in the world. Of course, I would like to have a EuroLeague champion. It's when I was in Europe, I was like, okay. I knew kind of like I was going to Spurs because I was drafted, and I stayed 3 years in there. So why not win the EuroLeague and then go to the NBA, maybe have a chance to play with Tim Duncan and win in the NBA, right? So I was like, okay, let's try to get everything. But it wasn't possible. I mean, we won everything in Spain, like you said before, ACB, Cup, Super Cup, MVP, blah, blah, blah.
Sorry to interrupt you. You beat EuroLeague champions to win.
Yeah.
The ACB, like in 2010.
Yeah. And, something that I'm missing in my career is that EuroLeague champion and also a medal in Olympics with the national team. So those are 2 things that I'm missing. And maybe I can get it as a coach one day. We'll see.
I hope you do.
Yeah. And among the things that stood out the most during this Baskonia season so far in the EuroLeague, there's also the retirement ceremony, the jersey retirement ceremony of Luis Scola. So did you have the opportunity to watch it, to talk with Luis a little bit about it? Maybe?
Yes, I watch it. I text Luis. I have a lot of friends that live in Vitoria, of course. And it's great. Luis is the guy that put me under his arms when I was 18, 17 years old. And I basically practice every day with him. I learn how to be a professional, how to take care of my body, how to, just keep going. There's no excuses. Just practice, just do it. Yes, Luis is a big example for me. Now we don't talk as much as before, of course, because we all have different lives. He's in Italy, I'm here in America. But Luis, I have a big respect and love for him, He's, just so you guys know, his first kid is named Tiago. So
I admit that I wasn't aware of that. Wow,
yeah.
that's amazing.
So and then we have a big rivalry between Brazil and Argentina. You guys gotta
Naturally.
understand that. That's a, you know,
Yeah.
and when we play against each other, we will kill each other. No elbow in the face, whatever. But like we were just competing, and we respect, you know, what the other guy was doing. So I can't imagine a guy that deserved more to have a jersey retire in Baskonia more than Luis. I don't think so, because he is the guy that put Baskonia as a player. He put Baskonia on the top, and Dusko is the coach that put Baskonia on the top. So those are for me the symbols of Baskonia. He was like that.
Following up with just you said about, you know, the big rivalry between Argentina and Brazil. Of course, we wanted to touch on that, and the challenges that you had with Luis Scola, with Manu Ginobili, the legendary teams of Argentina in the past. I talked with Coach Sergio Hernandez Oveca during the World Cup, and he told me Brazil has it all: players of all types, physicality, immense potential, and a strong league. So I want to ask you: do you believe that potentially in the future the Brazilian national team can become what Argentina was back in the day? Because let's face it, Argentina is not living its best moment right now.
I hope so. And I talked to a lot of people asking me this question, you know. And I think it's a little bit about cycles. And it goes in every national team, in every, you know, in the world. Like Argentina was in the top of the world, it's not anymore. You know, Spain was very good and now it's not as good. But like soon they're gonna be competitive again because they have a great league. And I think these generations of talent, they come in waves sometimes. And when you have like 3, 4, 5 players that are special and they playing at the top leagues in the world, that's going to lead your team to be good, you know. One day we have 9 players in the NBA. Today we have 1, you know. So why is that? Are we doing something different? I don't know. It's just a cycle. You know, maybe in 10 years, like you said, we will have, again, 10 players in the NBA. And then, you know, being successful and playing well, going to these international competitions. And I really believe that. I don't think major changes, you know, were done so we had those 9 players in the NBA. No, it just happened. It's just like, you know, I wish we had more players in Brazil, more people playing basketball, but it's what it is. So
yeah,
we do have a good league, we do have a good competition, but it's not as good as America, of course, or Spain, or Greece, or so we gotta get there. We gotta aim higher for sure.
It's funny that you said that you wish we had more people in Brazil that, you know, watch and play basketball, because I asked Yago dos Santos during the World Cup, it was humorous a bit. Will there be a day that a Brazilian player will appear that will make basketball as popular as football in Brazil? And he just burst out laughing. He didn't. He's saying, "Come on," he's saying to me.
Well, yeah, it's because we are from there and we know how people is about football there. Now, football is everything for Brazilians, you know. And it starts with, I always say this, you know how you start when the parents will wanted their kids to play basketball. We will start when we have basketball in every school, every public school. If you have sports in the public school, we're going to be better, but we don't have it, you know. It's just little physical education. Some schools don't even have a court. So it's part of the development of the country. Once the country gets the better developed, then we're going to have better athletes. Yeah. It's simple as that.
Speaking about, you're giving us assists to our next topic. Speaking about development, there is a guy who has been emerging as a young star in the league right now, and actually he's right now the Rockets' leading performer. I'm thinking about Alperen Sengun, and I'm thinking leading performer according to numbers, because, you know, you might say other guys are performing well and leading in other categories. What I want to give an example on what impressed me about Alperen Sengun. When Alperen Sengun arrived in the USA from Turkey, he couldn't even speak proper English. And I watched his podcast that he did with Paul George, and I'm pleasantly surprised with how well he's speaking the language right now, how well he communicates. And the way I see it as an example of what kind of a hard worker this young guy is, how much he worked to develop his English, and how much of a fast learner he is. Does that reflect also how much of a hard worker and fast learner he is when it comes to basketball?
He's a guy that is hungry to get better, for sure. I think, like you said, he's speaking better English. He's not afraid. He's a very extroverted guy, so he's not shy. So that helps on the English part. Okay, so even though sometimes his English wasn't great, he was trying. So that's the first thing to learn a language, right? Same when I lived in Spain, when I came to the US. So I had to go to the same steps as him. So the only way to learn a language is go ahead and talk, even though you make mistakes. Now, on the basketball side, he's a very talented dude. I mean, I had the pleasure to work with him, and just like, some players, you teach something, and you gotta go every day, teach them this, the angle, the timing, the hand, how you play. This guy, you tell him one time and he learns it. You teach him one kind of like move, next day he's doing it in the game. Some players don't have the balls to do that. A new move and try the next game. I'm like, wow, he really tried to do the play that we just work on it. Like, good job. And I think it's not because of me, but I think is of course, it's just the natural development of him. His third year in the league. Usually it's this year when the players really start to bloom, like blossom and play well. I think he just need a little structure, like a routine to get to his zone, to get ready to play the game. Mentally, he was a little bit, like a little child, yeah, but like no, stop. We gotta be serious, we gotta focus. You play 2 games in a row well. Now this is the hardest one. Now you gotta stay focused. You gotta play well the third one. Okay, you put 3 games together. Let's play 4 games with focus. You keep going, like never relax. And I was joking with him one day, and he played, I don't know, 5 good games in a row. And he like, what the coach in Europe will do now? Because you just playing around, you kicking the ball here, he will go hard at you. He would just like hard practice, motherfucker you. So you bring back to the earth, and then you're going to play serious tonight. So I don't need to do that, right? I'm like, yeah. So, I was just making him, be a pro, because he's very young, but he's very talented, and he's all kudos to him. He's getting better every day on defense. This is the thing that we work the most and we talk the most, defense, how to guard people, how to be in the right coverage. And he's, a special player in this league.
You just spoke highly about Alperen, and he did the same about you. In an interview, he mentioned the fact that you helped him a lot improving with his left hand, the fact that you're teaching him a lot of things about the experience, the mental side, of course, as you just said. So how do you feel when the team's leading performer, like the leader of these Houston Rockets, is talking about you like that? What comes to your mind?
I mean, sorry to interrupt you. I mean, he specifically said, Tiago is helping me a lot. I improved my left hand with him. He's a champion. He's teaching me a lot of things about his experience, mentality, games off the court, everything. That's his exact words, for example.
I mean, the left hand, he's lying. He had always had a left hand. But yes, I'm, I just try to, make him stay on earth, flat in the floor, just be humble. He's very young. He's gonna learn what is this league and what is the world of basketball, how you get there. And But it's good to hear that. I don't know. I mean, I guess I'm doing my job. I'm just doing my job. I'm not doing anything different. I'm not special because of that. I'm just trying to do my job and make him play better. And he's probably the most talented player that I had the chance to, train individually. I had other guys, but he's special. He's playing well now. So
yeah.
You talked before about Brazilian players to make the EuroLeague link in the NBA. Let's talk about Brazilian players in EuroLeague and the Brazilian players debuting in EuroLeague and getting important roles on their teams. Think about Yago dos Santos coming off a great season in Germany, a solid World Cup tournament. Bruno Caboclo, the same. He was great for Brazil in the World Cup. Now, after a bit of a saga that I don't want to go through, he's now in the EuroLeague playing with under Zeljko Obradovic, as you said. So, what do you think about those two guys, and how do you feel watching Brazilian players becoming relevant and the topic of discussion again in the EuroLeague?
Well, first of all, I love those two kids. I had the pleasure to especially coach Yago in the under-23. Caboclo also as assistant with the national team. They are different, but, special at the same time. Yago is a natural leader. He's just getting used to the Europe game, and I think he's going to be even better. Once he figured out, he's going to be a problem. You guys are going to see. I mean, that's what happened every, stage of his career, his short career. He always plays better than what people think he's going to play. He's a small guy, but he has a big heart and competitive as at the best I ever seen. So hopefully, he learns that quick and have a great career in Europe. Bruno is, wow, that's a guy that, we've been talking for him forever. And I think finally he's finding his game, because I think individually he was always good. Could shoot, drive, dunk the ball, run, block shot. But it sometimes takes time to understand better the game, the plays, the reads of the game. And lately he's playing really well. I think the getting out of the NBA really shocked him. Okay, it's a wake up, because you are a very talented player. You just need to focus on your game and get better every day. And I think that's what he is doing lately, and I'm proud of him. And Yago, Bruno, maybe Gui Santos now that signed with the Warriors. Those are the three, keys for Brazil in the future. Those three guys are, the triangle of Brazil, and hopefully, those three guys keep getting better, and we add more players, and we have a good national team.
And of course, we talked about the two Brazilian guys who are playing very well in the EuroLeague right now. If it wasn't for that serious right knee injury in the World Cup,
horrible,
it would be free, because Raul Neto, of course, signed for Fenerbahce. So how do you think, how well would he be for Fenerbahce in your eyes? And what do you think about his transition to Europe?
Because his game seems ideal from what I've seen to have been translated into Europe. He seemed ideal, a great fit for the game.
100% agree with you guys. He's, he was raised in the European basketball in Spain, so he came kind of like me, very young to Spain, and maybe in not the top leagues, but as a point guard, it's harder. So he was learning in Europe how to be a point guard, and then went to the NBA. Always had that role as a second, third point guard, right? Like always like filling the gaps, he's a very, very, very good player, solid player that will give you a good offense, a great defense, soldier in the court. And I think Fenerbahce fans will love him. It was very bad luck what happened, and I'm sorry for him. Hopefully he comes back stronger, and he still got a lot of juice to play in Europe and to, make Fenerbahce fans proud. So I hope that, next season he comes stronger and got the chance to play his best, game.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah.
We're going to finish this with we talked about a lot of players. We saved this one for last, and for a good reason. Last but definitely not least, can you tell us what keeps Marcelinho Huertas going? Because honestly, I've asked him so many times. I'm sure Cesari asked him many times as well. Many people are asking him many times as well. I mean, the guy is older than you, and I know that it was injuries that hindered your career and didn't allow you to play a couple of years more. But the guy still keeps going. He still keeps going into competitions and signing into different demanding competitions. You played your teammates for a long time, opponents. What's the deal with Marcelinho Huertas?
Yeah, if you have the
I wish I
secret,
know.
give us. If you have the
Yeah.
secret, give us, because he's not giving it. He's not telling.
He just says,
Well,
I love basketball, and that's it.
he's definitely, I mean, how can I say it? He's a magician of the basketball. You guys all know. He sees the game different. He's seen all the situations possibles, and the reason why he's playing so long, I don't know. He's a big pro, man. He's a guy that really takes care of his body. He knows exactly what he's putting in his mouth. He sleeps, I don't know, all the hours he can. Just like the ultimate pro. He's all about his family and taking care of his body. That's Marcelinho right now, and I'm proud of him, man. We grew up together in the national team. Played many years with him. Was my roommate for like 10 years. So I know exactly how he is and what he thinks in every moment. We talk a lot about basketball, about life, family, diets, workouts, training, and that guy is special. He's another guy that one day is going to be a coach for sure, and hopefully we coach together one day. But he's a guy that knows the game very well. Got a little experience in the NBA too. A little bit too late, but he had that experience with him, and I'm all love about Marcelinho. It's a big friend of mine.
One of the few players also who has plainly said to me, at least, that he still loves going to practice. I mean, there are still many players will tell, I don't like practice much. We could go with fewer practices, especially players in Europe, and you know how tough practices can be in Europe. But Marcelo Huertas told me this, I still love going to practice every day.
Yes, and he's and he helped to develop all the young guys in the team. He lead them by example. He lead them with his voice, and he's there. Like I'm not just saying, I'm doing it, and I'm doing more than 18 years old kid. So I'm like, wow, good for you. I think he deserves everything that he's doing right now.
Tiago, we would like to thank you so much for this. Thank you for waking up so early to talk with us. You have a big game tonight, right? If I'm not
mistaken. We play tonight against Dallas.
Luka Doncic, and you're going to looking to get your third win in a row, if I'm not mistaken, again for the Rockets.
Yeah.
So it was big. We learned a lot of things, just as you promised us we will. And it was great, taking that trip back also to Zeros basketball and EuroLeague. Thank you very much, Tiago. That's all I can say.
No, thank you guys. Thank you. Keep doing your stuff. I love your content. And well, maybe we talk again in the future. Who knows?
Thanks,
Tiago. We definitely hope so. So Cesare, thank you as well. From Antonis Stroggylakis, my great colleague Cesare Milanti, and of course Tiago Splitter, who was a great guest for us today. Thank you. check out this episode and all of our episodes and our content on our official channel, EuroHoops TV, on YouTube. And of course, you can find our podcast on Spotify and other platforms. Take care, everyone, and farewell. We'll see you next week.
See you.
Bye.